Over the unforgiving Atlantic, a lone bomber flies low, its engines struggling, battered by enemy fire. At the helm is Flying Officer Lloyd Trigg, refusing to turn back despite the dire odds. Below, a German U-boat waits, its crew thinking victory is near. But instead, they witness a staggering act of courage as Trigg and his crew press forward in a mission that would defy expectations and earn him the Victoria Cross, thanks entirely to the testimony of the very enemy he fought. This is the incredible story of one man's bravery in the face of certain death. Lloyd Trigg's story takes us back to the vast and unforgiving waters of the Atlantic Ocean during World War II. It was a time when the sea lanes were a critical lifeline for the Allies, providing the supplies that were needed to keep fighting. But these lifelines were under constant threat from German U-boats, submarines prowling the seas, sinking merchant ships and disrupting Allied supply chains. To counter this threat, long-range patrols were conducted by airmen, flying in various aircraft, including Flying Officer Lloyd Trigg, who was part of the Royal New Zealand Air Force. Lloyd Allan Trigg was born on May 5, 1914, in Huhora, New Zealand, a small rural community in the far north of the country. He grew up surrounded by the rugged natural beauty of the region, which helped instill in him a sense of resilience and resourcefulness. He attended Whangarei High School and afterward pursued further studies at Auckland University College. Following his time at college, he worked as a farmer, which was a common occupation in the area, and married Nola McGarvey, and they had 2 sons. Before joining the Royal New Zealand Air Force, he served with the North Auckland Rifles, a territorial force unit, which provided him with early military training and experience. And he was known to be hard-working and dependable, qualities that would serve him well in his military career. On June 15, 1941, he joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force as an aircrew trainee, with the goal of becoming a pilot. He was motivated by a strong desire to serve his country in its time of need. He began his training at Royal New Zealand Air Force Levine, and after completing his basic training, he headed to Ontario, Canada, and the No. 3 Elementary Flying School. His performance there was exemplary, resulting in him being recommended for a commission. On January 16, 1942, he was awarded his pilot's wings and duly commissioned as a pilot officer. During his time in reconnaissance training, he began flying the Lockheed Hudson, a light bomber and coastal reconnaissance aircraft. The Hudson was known for its versatility and reliability, equipped with twin engines and capable of carrying bombs or depth charges. It was primarily used for anti-submarine patrols, convoy escort missions and reconnaissance, which made it an ideal platform for training aircrews like Trigg in the essential skills of maritime patrol operations. Following his successful reconnaissance training, Trigg was promoted to flying officer, and in October of 1942, he embarked for the UK, joining RAF Coastal Command. In January 1943, active war service called, and he was posted to join 200 Squadron RAF, based at RAF Jeswang in West Africa. The squadron had been conducting convoy protection missions using Lockheed Hudsons, and as Trigg was known for his calm under pressure and determination in the face of danger, this was the ideal posting for him. Over the next few months, Trigg was involved in over 40 operational flights, including reconnaissance, convoy escorts and anti-submarine missions. During this time, his skill in the air earned him the Distinguished Flying Cross. By August 1943, the venerable Hudson was replaced with a consolidated B-24 Liberator Mark V. The Liberator was a long-range heavy bomber that played a crucial role in maritime patrol and anti-submarine warfare. Equipped with 4 powerful engines, it had an impressive range that allowed it to cover vast stretches of the Atlantic Ocean. This transition marked a significant enhancement in the squadron's capabilities, enabling them to conduct longer and more effective patrols. The addition of the Liberator's range and firepower was crucial in taking the fight to the enemy, allowing Trigg and his squadron to effectively counter the increasing threat posed by U-boats in the Atlantic. The Liberator could carry a substantial payload of bombs or depth charges, making it an effective weapon against enemy submarines. Its advanced radar and detection equipment made it particularly suitable for hunting U-boats, and it was instrumental in turning the tide in the Battle of the Atlantic. Along with the change in aircraft, 200 Squadron shifted their main operating base to RAF Yundum, West Africa, and several aircraft were detached to Rufisque, to the east of Dakar. It was from Rufisque, on Trigg's first operational mission in the Liberator, that he would display the ultimate courage and earn his Victoria Cross. On August the 11th, 1943, at 07:29, Flying Officer Trigg took off from his base at Rufisque on what was meant to be a routine anti-submarine patrol. 1 month earlier, on July 7th, Type 7C U-boat U-468, under the command of Oberleutnant Clemens Chamon, had departed the deepwater port of La Rochelle in France and set a course for the waters off West Africa. At 11 a.m, Trigg's aircraft received news that a U-boat had been spotted nearby and had been attacked by a Catalina. They were to commence a search for the U-boat. Scouring the water, they eventually found U-468 on the surface and lined up for an attack run. At a distance of 2,000 metres, he began turning his aircraft towards his target, and as he did so, U-468 opened fire from its two 20mm cannons. This opening salvo from the U-boat found its target, and Trigg's Liberator was hit badly. Fire broke out, and critical systems were damaged. Trigg had to make a decision, and fast. Realising that his aircraft was severely crippled, he could break off the attack and ditch in the ocean, abandoning his aircraft for a dinghy. This is what Chamon and his crew on U-468 were desperately hoping for. But to their horror, they watched as the blazing Liberator continued to line up its attack run and bear down on them. Under a hail of 20mm cannon fire, Trigg pressed on and brought his aircraft down to a mere 50 feet and continued his attack run. This provided a very easy target for U-468, and the gun crews could see their shells hitting home, ripping through Trigg's aircraft, causing more and more damage. Flying low over the ocean with his aircraft crippled and losing altitude, Trigg and his crew managed to release the depth charges with remarkable accuracy. The charges landed within 2 meters of the U-boat and detonated, mortally damaging U-468. But the damage to Trigg's aircraft was also too great. As the Liberator roared over the U-boat, it crashed into the sea, instantly killing Trigg and his 7 crew members. U-468 sank within 10 minutes, killing or injuring most of its 46 crew. Chamon and 6 of his crew managed to survive the attack and the sinking, and were able to find and climb onto one of Trigg's dinghies that was floating nearby, before the next day being picked up by the Royal Navy corvette HMS Clarkia. What makes this story truly extraordinary is how we know what happened. There were no Allied witnesses to Trigg's bravery. The only testimony came from the surviving crew members of U-468. During the interrogation of the survivors, Chamon remarked on what he had witnessed, describing the skill, determination and courage of his assailant. He made a strong case that, in his words, such a gallant fighter as Trigg would have been decorated in Germany with the highest medal or order. It was on the basis of this testimony that Lloyd Trigg was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously, the only Victoria Cross of World War II awarded solely on the recommendation of enemy combatants. Trigg's commanding officer, Wing Commander W.H. Ingle, later wrote to Trigg's widow to explain the circumstances of his death. He wrote, "I hope it will be some consolation to you to learn of the gallant manner in which your husband died, fighting for his country. I am very proud to have known him." On May 28, 1944, at the Trigg family home in New Zealand, Lloyd Trigg's Victoria Cross was presented to his widow, Nola, by the Governor-General of New Zealand, Sir Cyril Newall. The location was chosen by Nola to enable family and friends to be present to celebrate the award. Flying Officer Lloyd Trigg's Victoria Cross citation highlights his valour and devotion to duty of the highest order. His actions not only exemplify the courage of those who served in the war in the Atlantic, but also demonstrate a profound sense of duty, even in the face of almost certain death. Trigg's story is a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by so many during World War II. The bodies of Trigg and his crew were never recovered, and so are remembered and commemorated on the Malta Memorial, which stands for the 2,298 Commonwealth aircrew who gave their lives in the Mediterranean theatre during World War II. Trigg's courage has not been forgotten. He stands as a symbol of bravery that transcends nationality. The fact that the enemy he fought testified to his valour speaks volumes about the respect his actions commanded. Today, we honour Lloyd Trigg not only as a hero of New Zealand, but as a hero to all who value courage and sacrifice. Thanks very much for watching. Please take a moment to hit the like button and consider subscribing.